Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. We're not. I mean, we're going live. They're hooking up. Each one of the platforms is hooking up. It's coming. You'll see comments on
If
the
my
side from all.
internet is goes off,
Yeah.
oh, I can't see anything. I'm. Let's see. Okay, I have to like do this.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I'm gonna play the intro real quick, and then we'll
Or you
be
can
right
just tell
back.
me what you want.
What I want.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm gonna play the intro real quick. Hang on.
If there's any, okay.
Okay. How's it going, everybody? We got Maria Bethencourt is in the house from Northwest Florida near the Swanee River. And we have a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
of a lag, so we've had technical difficulties with the other two shows as well. So there must be a lot of energy in the mix today. But welcome to the show,
Oh
Maria.
boy. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's kind of. I can see. It's like I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Good.
So
Okay.
yeah, today's got a lot of energy, a lot of energy in the mix, and I guess it's showing up in the
Ah.
technical side. 3 shows in a row.
Yeah. Absolutely. Our thing is yeah that too. But the energies are so intense, and it's almost like the grids are so sensitive that everything is affected. Every single aspect of our reality, of the matrix, if you wish to call it, whether it's electrical, mechanical, or it's, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, the energetic. It's like, what else is the universe going to throw at us? Right? The kitchen sink. God, everybody, get your umbrellas, put on your sunglasses. I mean, what? Where there's a flash, there's the darkness, there's this. Nobody knows what is up,
That's
but we
true.
feel it. We feel it in our
Yeah.
hearts. We feel
Yeah.
that everything is divinely perfect. But energetically, right now, the sun is revving up. The grids are completely different. We've anchored everything different. Everything is new. Everything's ascending. And everything has to catch up, including the crystals in our computers.
In our
There's a reason why, they have the crystals in there.
yeah, I hadn't thought of that. The ascension affecting what we might consider
Mm-hmm.
inanimate objects, but that's very true. Why wouldn't it be true?
Right,
Everything
because
is.
right.
Yeah.
Well, because we are organic beings, right? We know the organic laws, the seven hermetic principles, or whatever you wish to call it, that govern the this holographic universe, right? The matrix. But we have to remember that something creates things that are not organic. We call those, or it's my understanding. Of course, I always say, take what I say, leave the rest. Take what you need and what resonates, and leave the rest. But if you were to consider us organic, we have to also understand that they're non-organic, or as I like to call them, the tesseract. worlds. A table is still following the rules. It's still moving. There's still consciousness is just a completely different. It doesn't follow the same principles because it is not organic. It's the same thing with AI. I always, there's following the way I understand it, the hermetic principles of polarity, duality, and all of that. We may have what we consider being organic, right? And I call that my source. But I also consider there to be an AI source, whatever that intelligence is that created things, not created. And the computers created the cars, created whatever it is that assist us in our path and experience here on Earth. And so we have to remember that that there's so much unknown out there that is governed by very different rules, because every dimension has got different rules.
Yeah.
Kind of like every game rule. You're not going to apply the games of baseball to tennis, right? So we just have to elevate and in its place or where it's coming from. And so I just always remember, and it's a great do if you want to upgrade your computers at home, if you're having trouble with your smart TV, which sometimes is not that smart, like stupid TV, but if you're having with your electronics, you can use sound frequency to upgrade the crystal in that crystal Christ, right? To upgrade and level up that crystal in the chip in your computer by sound. Like, for example, I have a crystal bowl and I ring it whenever I start to feel the energy, my frequency. And in fact, I was going to ring it for you to kind of let you hear how easy it is, at least in my world. Yeah, so this is from my other life before awakening. It's made it through all this time, and that's how I know it's real. But it's a crystal vase. Ooh, see? And it's got a chip in it. Poor thing. It's been through a lot. So, and then somewhere along the way, I got this thing, and so I take it. And you can feel it when it finally elevates you to that frequency of crystal, right? Not glass. So when it finally elevates your environment, your grids in your home to the frequency of the fifth dimension of peace, of the Christ, you can breathe. That's how you always know that you've caught up to the frequency, because you can finally, I got it, and it's very simple way, and it upgrades, it kind of levels up everything that is not organic, as well as you, who is the crystals, that's why crystals are so important. That's why one of the signs of someone that's either awakening or has awakened or is ascending or is that they go in a crystal binge, and they they're collecting crystals and every sort of connection to the earth that they can, because the crystals they ascended, and they are our bridges, our healers, right? They just are from an inorganic or tesseract world, created by a different kind of creator, a dual creator that focuses on just those kind of things to assist us, and I think we forget sometimes, so maybe we make it too complicated, but basically the universe is always conspiring to make us happy, to let us, to fulfill our dreams. And we have to remember that in this final timeline, the end game, right, that everything is quantum entangled. It's like we're soup. We're universal soup, and somebody has taken all of us into a bowl and done a blender, and we all got blended in, and we came out one color, but we're still within it, within that soup. We got carrots, and we got, potatoes, and whatever else you put on soup, and so our job is to find, if you're a carrot, to find your carrots in the soup. And that's quantum entanglement. That's exactly what's happening right now. We're all trying to reconnect, right? And leave behind the bad parts of the soup,
Hmm.
the part that burned the bottom.
That's the best part.
So, we just, that I know, right? Yeah,
It's the best
it
part.
is
I
the
mean,
best
the
part. We learn, yeah, the burnt part. The part that got us through and even for our soul is the best part. We learn so much through pain and suffering. And that's exactly what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing. We've been descending to learn through pain and suffering what love is not. And I think all
right.
of us pretty much got it by now. And,
Yes, I agree with
we
that.
went like this, and now we're heading back up. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh,
Yeah.
got it. We're going from karma to dharma, learning from pain and suffering to learning through miracles and blessings.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to do it. No one's ever left behind. We're all one. And as we awaken more and more, and we begin to settle into that truth, that's where peace comes. Is realizing that we are both incredibly tiny and incredibly large at the same time.
Yeah.
We have the ability to go small or big.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty amazing, that knowledge that's coming to us.
Yeah.
And I certainly find peace in that. So,
Well, that was a lot. That was great. That's a great
whoa,
little.
sorry.
No, that was great. Thank you for that.
Woo!
But I do think that we
I speak
figured it out
child.
now, huh?
Oh, we have absolutely. I speak child. I don't.
Yes.
That's part of I had a spontaneous awakening, so I'm a kind of different little thing all on my own, right? That was actually 10 years ago this year, in 2011. August 23rd will be my 10th year anniversary, and or birthday, and I have been through a lot, but star seeds, are a little different. They kind of is that they go to a different, or the beat of a different drummer, right? We have earth angels, we have earth star seeds, and then we have the observers in the middle, in the third dimensional earth, and they're just different souls experiencing different things. It's just completely different. The earth angels are the ones that have been reincarnating here, the incarnates. The incarnates, the ones that first come in, we're all stars. We all got here
Yeah,
to
of
this
course.
earth at one
Yeah.
time, and we're a star seed. So it's just a matter of, when you remember, you just remember where you are, who you are. And if you're a star seed, you are probably adopted. And your life has been uh, a crazy show, right? Because it's kind of like when you incarnate into this earth, that Mother Earth lets you into this to be, of the earth, right? To learn, the Milky way, right? Mother Earth. When we first incarnate, right, we are all star seeds, and but we kind already come into the game of those that have already been reincarnating. That's exactly what's happened here. The earth angels have been in reincarnation, and they're ready to come out. The star seeds were kind of watching, looking down and waiting, right? And then between us, we have what I called, and actually the book of Enoch calls, the watchers, the observers,
Right.
the ones that make sure that everything is, on the up and up. And when there's space for a starseed, usually the reason that majority of starseeds are adopted is because they're born into dying timelines, into dying DNA. Kind of like we get the bottom of the barrel in order to immerse ourselves. So that's why starseeds, you will find, will have the hardest life experiences. Usually as children, they were severely abused. They're targeted individuals. Everything's been stolen from them. Everything, blah, blah. It's like one after another. Because they come in so bright and shiny that they have to kind of dulled by pain and suffering in order to fit in, so that they're
Mm-hmm.
not too much of an energetic catalyst, right? We can't disrupt the matrix. We can't disrupt the game. So there's three different different systems. And when we're right now going through a change, the earth angels no longer want to be caught in reincarnation. They want to fly free, right? And the star seeds have been waiting a long time to be caught in this creation. So they all came down, and you kind of have to earn a right? The matrix is a pay to play system. And so that right now is what you're seeing, is you're seeing a shift in the roles that souls are wishing to experience. The ones maybe that were earth angels that have been through the dark ages, everything we've been through, maybe they want to now reach out to the sky. They want to go be a star seed in another game. The observers now may want to either leave or stay. And that's why in tarot we call that the wheel, right? Tarot cards, that's a soul's journey. The tarot cards that people play with, that I play with, my dirty secret, right? It's a soul's journey. And souls right now are all adjusting. It's kind of like, okay, we've done this long enough. I've learned everything I needed to learn. If I've been through karma, learning through pain and suffering, I'm ready to learn now through miracles and blessings. I don't want to defend my heart anymore. I'll open up and let the miracles flow in. And the observers say, I've watched enough. I'm ready to get in because I want to change some things. So it's kind of like musical chairs right now at this end game, at this end time. And souls are all, that's why there's judgment. And that's why it's all happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a great
it's a soul
synopsis.
Decision. I don't.
Hey, can I ask you? And there's a little bit of a lag, so I'm trying to be careful when I ask you something. But so just to go back to it, because this is a great explanation. I really appreciate it. It resonates deeply. So there's basically three realities, and you know what? I'm going to say four, okay? Because of something you said before that. Because I look at everything, these things that are solid, like a table, like you were talking about. Or the computer, I see them as made of the same substance as myself, but I love the way you explain that about how it doesn't move the same way. And when you were saying that, to me, it was almost like it represents a different dimension that I have access to. And maybe I'm in one or two or whatever, I don't know. And then the stuff that we can't see, or at least the stuff that's coming into focus in our lives and our higher sensitivities and even our five senses that was in a higher dimension is kind of has the same, or we have the same relationship with it as the solid objects do with us. But I just wanted to, so there's like that part of it. And then you said there's the earth angels, there's the star seeds, and yet everyone was a star seed. Yes. But in this realm, you've got some that have been what you're calling earth angels that have had incarnation after incarnation after incarnation. Then you have the star seeds, which have had maybe one or two. And then you have the watchers. So I really get the earth angel thing. It sounds very organic to me, and I can really resonate with that. I can see the star seed part because my beautiful bride, I've since I met her, I said, and she said, I'm galactic. I said, I'm organic. This really helps me understand it, and I appreciate that. And I know a lot of people like her that listen and are part of this community. And then you brought the watchers in. Okay, so I just want to get some clarity. I just want you to re-explain, if you would, what the watchers are, number one, and number two, do those three categories cover every one of the 8 billion incarnated souls on the earth? Are they all in one of those categories?
Yes and no. Okay, so remember, the beautiful thing about our Mother Earth is that she is multidimensional. So in the third dimension, there are 3 categories, right? The third dimension is a dimension of time, right? We're leaving the third dimension behind. That's one of the signs that you're ascending. You lose all sense of time, you're shifting into the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is the dimension of, I guess you could say the third dimension is the dimension of the past. The fourth dimension is a dimension of the future. The fourth dimension is also the dimension of space. So that's why we got, Tesla's protege, Elon Musk, doing the ships and everything, because he's already fully anchored, in that. The fourth dimension is also the realm or the dimension with all the realms that are invisible. So we have, the spirits with spiritual warfare, right? Because as above, so below, we must follow the seven hermetic principles. So if there's war on earth, there's war in heaven, right? Those are the seven hermetic principles. Everything comes from that. Everything, all the sciences. If you understand seven hermetic principles, you understand science, you understand physics, you understand quantum jumping, right? But you can understand math. The universe speaks mathematics. It doesn't speak human. It doesn't speak emotions. It doesn't any of that thing. So the third dimension that you were talking about, we have the souls that are now ascending. They are the ones that have been reincarnating. And if you, one person that explains the history of our planet, beautiful, she's also a starseed that has spontaneous awakening like me, but before me, is Lisa Renee with energetic synthesis. She is a galactic historian. So she talks about the electric wars, and she explains everything that's going on and how the grids deteriorated across all dimensions because everything is connected. And so the third dimension, we have the earth angels, which you understand. We have the star seeds, which that first incarnation. It's only the first incarnation. You either build no karma. A lot of star seeds you'll see will not have children because they don't want karma. Right? They don't want to be stuck here. They're in and out. They got a job to do one lifetime and they're out. They're going to go tripping the light fantastic, right? Wherever. So star seeds come in, and the if you were to say, the problem with star seeds is that, and you'll find this, the majority of star seeds, ET phone home, they're here for the animals and they're here for the plants and they're here for the earth. They're not very good with people. They're not a people, they really don't, it's that compassion, that third dimensional chakra system, they haven't landed. They need to land into it. So they're coming almost like a pyramid upside down. They're coming from the spirits, which are triangular, coming down to earth. Wait a minute, where's my thing? So they're like that, coming down to earth. The earth angels, like the pyramid in Egypt, they're from the pyramid moving their way back. So we meet in the middle, right? This part of the earth angels, these are the star seeds. And in that point in the middle, that's where the watchers are. You can call the watchers, somebody call them the archangels, somebody calls them they're infinite because they're invisible, right? They're levels of consciousness that are kind of like our mamas and papas, our grandmas and grandpas, our elders, the ancient ones, going back to the original race of duality that began this universe, the dragons and the patas, the angels and the dragons, right? The angels are woo, and the dragons are like, they met in the middle because they fell in love. They're complete polarities, right?
Yes.
It happened to you, and that's the truth of fifth dimensional twin flames, right? You and your blood are an earth shaman, which is what you are. She's a star shaman. You're now going to ascend and become a star shaman and descend and become an earth shaman. And this is how we work through creation in infinite worlds. Everything world that you see out there, every star, if it's within our vision, that's one of the worlds that we in our higher selves have an option. We can be in, as long as we match that frequency. But we must match the frequency of each world. That's why it's such an honor to be on Earth at this time. And that's why even though we descend and immerse ourselves into the earth reality and experience pain and suffering, and as we're awakening, once we awaken and elevate, our higher self descends, our lower self ascends, we meet in the middle, and we begin to grow exponentially in that way. Our consciousness, right? Because we're consciousness. Our body might end, but our consciousness continues. The watchers also would be kind of like, well, it's changed now because everything's changed. The watchers would be like, for example, your original DNA mother and father. before you know, the original mother, father creators that created your soul, right? Your galactic consciousness, divine feminine and divine masculine, that would be your watchers. Because, you know, even Father God, even Yahweh, even Allah, Father, right? The cosmic father, that every father has a father, right? And so we just, it's ever growing both ways. This way, the watchers are in the middle, just making sure that everything's on the up and up. You know, cosmic justice is real, and you know, they themselves are, whatever role we are, they are too. You know, whether they're healers, you know, whether they're like Archangel Michael, warriors and protectors, or Raphael, healers of the heart. You know, I consider those watchers. And not only that, but you know, we look in the history and see the Nephilim, the giants, right? When the gods looked down and fell in love with humans, and they came and did the dirty deed, and they made babies, right? And so many of those, and once they crossed
Many of
over,
those
they
what?
became the watchers.
Oh,
I would advise everybody that they be the watchers when they crossed over, right? They chose to watch after the earth. They weren't ready to leave the system.
And obviously have a good
That
time.
sort of thing. They wanted to. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know.
So let me ask
Earth
you something.
Jewel of the cosmos.
What's that? Earth is a jewel of the cosmos. Let me ask you a question.
Jewel of the cosmos.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I really relate to this this star seed, like Morgan, right? And so many people coming down, and then, like you said, the what you're calling the earth angels coming up, and it's almost like there's this space in the middle that we're getting into, and it's having a huge impact because there's such an increase in the acceleration of our consciousness, and we're actually all going to the same place.
Exactly.
But in this moment,
we're skipping right over fourth.
Okay.
Warfare. That's
Say that again.
That's never been done before. You know how we always heard, we're skipping over the fourth dimension. Normally you follow dimensions linearly, the third dimension, right? But in the fourth dimension, the dimension of space, there is no time. So what we are doing is, because we've been so trapped in war, right? And even the negative alien agenda and all of that. Again, you know, go read Lisa Renee. She's great at explaining it. Even all that, we've been at war way too long. So every single soul that has been involved in the creation and the evolution of our earth doesn't want war anymore, right? So they got to go down and almost pluck the lowest dimensional, third dimensional self, pluck them up and take them completely out of a war. And so we are going straight from third to fifth, and picking up all the souls lost in the fourth, as our soul families, as we keep on trekking, you know, keep on trekking, baby. You know,
I get that.
And
I get that.
It's never been done before.
Very cool. Yeah. Good explanation. Yeah, because I know for myself and a lot of other people that when they first had the reawakening, I've heard a lot of people say this, what I experienced, which was they were having a lot of activity with energies, entities, souls that had transitioned that didn't go to the fifth, that were in the fourth. I've heard people call it the astral planes. Yeah. Yes. Right on.
Yeah. And many souls, what happened too is that they had etheric implants. Remember, now I got to the United States in 74. And of course, my awakening wasn't until I was deep in the matrix. I used to look at chemtrails and think that they were pretty crosses in the sky. You know, I used to hear, you know, fluoride and say, oh, how do I get more fluoride, you know, for our teeth? I mean, I was like deep, because star seeds, we're deep. in the dark. We're
Right.
seeds. What do you do with seeds? You plant
Right.
in the dark, right? So the seeds, that's why this took on, you have to be picked by Mother Earth to be able to be a starseed, to be allowed into the play. And so you have to take, in order to become human, right? Because star seeds are not human, right? We remember the place we come from. And one good way to look at it is, if you look outside at all the animals, all the plants, all that makes the 528 hertz planet Earth, those are every single alien
That's
that
right.
is in the game.
Yeah.
Some choose
That's right.
to not be third dimensional and went straight to second, to first, or even to zero, right? So because of that, if you have, let's say that you have a dragon. Let's say, well, better yet, let's say you have a snake. A snaky snake. Snakes don't know anything about mothers because they're born in an egg. By the time they come out of that egg, there's no one around. It's like sink or swim, right? So they have no idea what it's like to experience the love of a mother. So that's why they all want to come here, because they don't come from that world. They want they're star shamans. They want to it's kind of like when you're a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout and you do something, they give you a little patch. Okay, that's what we do. That's the creation. That's eternal. It's like we all are looking for Boy and Girl Scout patches for our little band. Because look what I did. I went to Earth. And I went to Earth, man. Until my third reincarnation. And everybody's like, oh, man, I died. I couldn't even be born, so it's kind of like we come here to die, because when you're eternal, dying is something that can only be experienced in the physical third dimensional world's creation, of the omniverse, right? Which is infinite. And so we have, dragons. We have all these different, one of my greatest watchers, one of my greatest guides is a twin flame partnership that I call Mr. and Mrs. Manti. They're praying mantis. They right after my awakening, they showed themselves, and I took them on as my team because I figured anybody that prays all the time was good for me, right? Well, they're from insect worlds. They don't. It's a completely, different thing, and so they're here to experience, right, what it's like to not be an insect. And so they're watchers, because they haven't quite decided, they're waiting for Mother to either let them in, or they want to decide if they want to go on the ride at Disney World. They haven't decided yet. So they're still the watchers, they're just going to hang out. But now everything is changing. Everybody wants a new role, right? Everybody wants a new experience. We want, plus Homo sapiens become extinct. We are becoming into the next root of man. We're leaving the Aryan root behind, the mind, right? We need to control our mind. We need to leave Atlantis behind, right? And so once we control the mind, we open up a crown and we exit, and now we become multidimensional, and we begin to activate our Earth Star chakra down at our feet, our and then our galactic male, our galactic female chakra. And then that causes a trinity, and we begin to move dimensional grids that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it all makes sense.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's a great explanation. You can take very much of it. I mean, I know people would take the explanation to different degrees of literalness, but you could take it all literal, but it's definitely metaphorically right on the money, as far as I'm concerned.
We're trying to explain things that cannot be explained.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that you said, again, going back to you've got a star seed, you've got a earth angel, you've got an organic shaman, you got a galactic shaman. Be two people, could be a groups, whatever, but let's just say two people as an example. So as they're going to the other polarity, right? There's a space in between. Some people might call that 0 point. So like when I listen to you and I think about, and when I listen to you and I think about the universe always being in motion, it's like there is a 0 point, right? But at the same time, as they go to their other end of the polarity, to me, it's like the 0 point. They're still in the 0 point. Like the 0 point just got wider, you know,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a basic
Exactly.
function of
It's
the
gone
flower of
quantum.
life. Yeah, 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 and
And
also the
yeah, that's
yeah.
beautiful. Absolutely. And not
Yeah.
only that, but in that zero where we meet, right? That's where everything happens, right? When we talk about quantum jumping and teleportation, and if you know one thing about starseeds, which you do because you married one, we're fascinated by quantum physics, quantum mechanics. It's like, teleportation. It's like, we just, because we understand those process. When I had my spontaneous awakening, when you go back and look at my video, not to, of course, but if you do, I everything, all that downloaded, I understood, the matrix. I understood the holographic universe. I understood quantum physics, quantum. Now, did I understand the way that somebody that maybe has some interest in quantum mechanics, or my favorite person on the whole planet at this moment, Elon Musk? Do we understand like he understands physics? No, because he has already shifted and has both the earth shaman and the star shaman within him. So he understands the of quantum physics and quantum mechanics and the matrix and move about it. And he also understands the mathematics, that the language of mathematics both humans and the speak. He has found that middle ground, and it's in that middle ground of perfect stillness where our creator, our source, whatever you wish to call it, right? I call it source. Where that source we come and are within it, because technically, as in Matrix, yo Neo, there is no spoon. That we're all sitting in the heart of our creator. That's why it's a holographic universe, right? And our creator just wishes to experience this earth through us. So that's why we
Right.
don't duplicate experiences ever. So that's why, in many ways, I always say our beloved Jesus Christ, our Christ, right? He was the winner chicken dinner of the timeline, because he was at the frequency and he carried it out, and because he was killed by being a Christian, if you wish, Christ, five-dimensional, quint, everything that has the sound tells you the dimension, right? So because he was able to become that, that's why 2,000 years later we're anchoring the Christ consciousness, because he was able to elevate himself to that consciousness, right, and express it in a way that allow us to bridge to the higher dimensions, because he that's why it's still around. It has withstood the test of time, because truth withstands the test of time. And that's why so many people right now in this final timeline, they're having new experiences. They're not dying, right? They're just shifting over. When you have a near death experience, you're quantum jumping into a parallel reality that is one level closer
Mm-hmm.
to your divine purpose timeline, right? And so the Christ, when he became the Christ, when he did it for all of us. So we don't have that timeline is gone. All that energy, all that information, that gnosis, that logos has gone back to our creator, and we now have a path. But he's not the only one. He's just the if he's that's why if you look at other places, at other, you have the Quran explaining it, you have the Torah explaining it, you have the Bible explaining it, right? Because they're just different levels of language
Mm-hmm.
to reach those that speak that language and vibration. And that's it's same, the concept is the same, it's just the language is different, thanks to the Tower of
Yeah.
Babel. Or Babel, I
And
call
this and the
it.
story and the
you know
story's still the
so if
same.
you
And we're
begin
the
to
yeah.
study that.
Go ahead.
Hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, so right, the story's still the same, it's just playing itself out multidimensionally in infinite ways. Right now, if you want to look at it from a quantum physics perspective, what they're saying, there's 8 billion people on earth, right? Something like that, 8 billion souls. All right, if you were to look at it from a higher perspective of parallel realities, you would see 8 billion Earths all next to each other, because every person is in that Earth experiencing their reality, and their reality might be a group reality, but it's still individual to that soul. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes absolute sense.
So that's the quantum entanglement. That's why we have everything going right now. Because everything that's written, that has been prophesied, has to play out. Well, following the 7 hermetic principles of 50-50, we know that we know 50% of it in the light, but 50% of it is in the dark. And what is that 50%? Well, that 50% are prophecies that were written that have been lost in time, still need to play out in this end game, because it's quantum entangled. So just because you don't believe that there's spiritual warfare in your reality, because we're quantum entanglement, there is. You may not know it, but it's still there, right? And it's affecting you. You're
That's a
not
very
aware of
good.
it.
That's a
So
very good.
That's the end game.
That's a very good point. Yeah, we have a lag. Okay, it's a very good point. To consider something like somebody I know. Let's just say somebody I know has a fervent belief that there's a galactic war going on, full steam right now, and let's just say I don't resonate. But with what you said, I'm entangled with that person. So if they feel that's happening as a quantum creator, then it's happening for me too. And another way to look at it, which somebody just put triggering memories, is you can see the energy of the war. And I'm not even talking about bullets, guns, planes, bombs, whatever. I'm just talking about, just look at the political atmosphere, or look at many, many other arenas. You see the energy of war. And so that means that we're all entangled. We're all entangled in it, just as what we can't see, but we're all entangled in it. So how do we diminish that old?
Disentangle.
Yeah, how do we disentangle?
We don't diminish. Remember, we don't.
Yes, you're right.
We don't kill our demons. We elevate above them. So how do we disentangle? And this is not, of course, again, I'm just speaking from my perspective, right? Because it's kind of like because I'm in my realities, so I can only follow the rules that best and govern my reality and my frequency. But the way that we do it is that we release everything and focus only on our ascension and reaching our divine lifetime, our winner chicken dinner, the reason we were born, right? So we've had to go through, there's 99 constellations that are part of the Earth's history that have been lost or forgotten. Okay, but they're still there, and they all had their gods, had their monsters, they had it all, and we're quantum entangled. Again, remember, just because we don't know something doesn't mean that in the end game it's not playing out. So we're trying to get to the 100 timeline, our divine purpose, the reason we were born. We were born to do one thing that's going to shift everything in our reality. And so as I shift my reality by doing the one thing that I was meant to do, and it doesn't have to be, Elon, again, I adore the boy. It doesn't have to be Elon Musk and doing what he does. It could be something as little as, you draw, you write, or not even that. You like to plant, or you like to meditate, or it's endless. You like to lay in the bathtub and smoke a doobie. If that's your purpose, that's your divine purpose. Do it. Do it. Just do it. Do what you need to do to make you happy. And by you making you happy, one soul at a time, just like the Buddha said, right? You elevate yourself, and that's when quantum mechanics kicks in. The law of resonance, the law, physics. How do we tune a fine instrument? We give it perfect pitch. And then the music instrument goes, ding, and it goes woo, and it aligns, right? And then you got a guitar that sounds good, or a piano. Consciousness is the same. So when you have a catalyst, a spiritual catalyst, right? Like you, like me, right? We're awake. When you have that and we're resonating high at 5D or higher, by the mere mechanics of the holographic universe, we are raising everybody else. Yes or yes, either raise or break. So a great sign that you are rising in frequency is that you break things. Like I went through a phase where like everything that was rubber would disintegrate, like the little wheels on my luggage, the steering wheel in my car. Why? Because I was higher than that frequency and it couldn't elevate. So it breaks. You know, I went through a phase where I broke all plastic. Why? Because I was at the frequency of glass. I had to go out and buy all glass because I couldn't stand plastic. You know, and then I broke all glass and I could only have crystal, and not much because it's expensive. You know, but I broke all glass. If you're breaking things, you're doing it right. And if you have people that hate you and are going, you know, why won't you die? You're doing it right. Because we're here catalysts. We're here to elevate using our frequency, right? Because we're ready. Because we have chosen. Because the human race we are unified. That's why, you know, when you make decisions in fear, and there's all this, I saw last night, I was laughing my arms off. I was watching this thing about, Left Behind. And you know how everybody's supposed to disappear? You know, it's like, zoop, they're gone, right? Well, I was watching one that was made with some comedians, and they were like little light that was coming down and picking people up. And I was looking at that going, well, those are light ships that are beaming up Scotty. You know, it's kind of like it looked like that's why the ships are here, right? To take their people experience it that way. Because so many have spoken about it. Once you speak, we are creators, whether we're conscious, unconscious, or semi-conscious. So once it's all quantum entangled, are there some people that are going to be picked up in ships? Oh, you betcha. If they believe it enough, their reality and their world, that's the way it's going to be. And our creator says, you know what? I'd like to experience that. You go on, my old. And so, you know, everybody that wants to experience that goes. You know, and they might end up, of course, in the fourth dimension of space, you know, Star Trek, you know, but it's beautiful and it's infinite experiences. And that's why we're eternal, because we're always coming up with something new. We're always reaching higher. We never create or invent anything. We just reach the frequency of the thought. And then we translate that thought to our reality and make it our creation. You know, no one invented the wheel. The wheel was there. It was just somebody got to it first.
Right.
Make sense?
And
you
then,
know, they got the rock and chip, 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 and they made a wheel.
and so the aligning with the frequency of the inspiration, the idea, the thought, is that is that
this is my water.
Is that
you were having your little glass of water, and this is mine.
I had one of those. I drank it, but I mean that what you're describing in terms of aligning with the thought, the idea, the inspiration. Is it a little bit different right now? Because that sounds like it sounds very accurate. It sounds like a kind of a cosmic manifestation, but we've got like this really physical experience. Does that same thing apply? I mean, how does that work?
Because remember the pyramid, right? You have pyramids that go like this, and then you have the pyramids that go like that, right? Well, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
that was the descension, right? So as we were descending, those are frequencies and thoughts as well. And the one, let's say, for example, the first person that invented a bomb, okay, they reached that frequency of descension first. They just translated it into their language, into our earth reality, right? But because we're quantum entangled, we look like a diamond, you know, shine bright like a diamond. Welcome to 5D. You see both the up and the down. That's why one thing that you know you've reached the 5D is every time somebody asks you a question, your first thought is yes and no. Why?
Mm,
Because you see it from here and you see it from here.
mm,
So,
mm,
when people say, they want me to say, well, is it this or isn't that? And I'll say, well, yes and no. From this perspective, it is. From this other perspective, not. And we meet in the middle. The middle is 5D. It's peace,
mm-hmm.
right? Because we think that the third dimension is going to go to the fourth and to the fifth, but that's only in the third dimension that time is linear. Everywhere else it jumps around.
Mm-hmm.
So the fifth dimension is kind of a thin line, would be maybe like a thin line in the third and the fourth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like the veil between. And if we are here in the third and here in the fourth, and this is the fifth dimension, the dimension that goes this way. We're traveling between the lines. We're able to. That's where your quantum. That's where teleportation. That's where folding space. That's where everything happens. That's where where quantum supremacy occurs. It's in between. It's not in one side or the other, because that's duality. Those are the 7 hermetic principles that rule the third dimensional Earth. The fourth dimensional Earth, dimension of the invisible, the rule that governs it, and a beautiful shaman shared this with me. I mean, like 9 years ago. She was amazing. Oh gosh, and now my mind's gone blank. I'm so sorry, Lovey. Ah, I can't remember her name. But anyways, the rule of the fourth dimension is what you look at disappears. Because if you are
Mm.
able to discern with your senses what is, game
It's
over,
not there.
man. Game over. I win.
Mm.
Right? Yeah, so it's like, wait a minute, you say that you are God, but you're more like Satan to me, right? And so, or Lucifer, or whatever, right? Because you have to discernment, and that's that's what makes this game, this Earth, so incredible. Is that without heart intelligence, I mean, we're sunk,
Yeah.
right? We're stuck in the, we're stuck in because we can't decide. Once we elevate, and our galactic female activate in the second level chakras of the fourth dimension, then we can discern, right? And we don't need partnerships, because the galactic male or the galactic female is within us. In the fifth dimension, that's when partnerships come together. So you and your beloved twin flame, you are true twin flames. And I notice everybody's throwing the term twin flame around lately. Well, it doesn't. You got karmic twins in the third, you got soulmates in the fourth, and you have twin flames in the fifth. Twin flames are here on this earth to do very different work. And we literally have died over and 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 over again to be able to unite in that in between space. How many times have you died? A whole bunch. You're really good at
Are
it.
you talking about? Are you talking about in the last week, this incarnation, or all together? Because they're all pretty much the
Well, like
same
the last
energy.
24 hours.
Ah, shitloads,
Yeah, exactly.
shitloads, shitloads. Just
Right,
absolute.
exactly. And so we collapse timelines at night, right? Because time
Yeah.
doesn't exist. It's just here. And so at night we become star seeds. During the day we are earth angels. And then at night, all earth timelines collapse. And if you set your sacred before you fall asleep to collapse any timeline not based in love, when you wake up the next morning, you have clarity because you've released that. You've gone out of the system. You have kind of yourself together, right? Knocked back a couple of beers, smoked a doobie with your friends, did some dancing, and said, "Oh man, I really messed up yesterday. I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna try it again." And so you kind of are coming back in every day. That's why we got to stay in the now. The past doesn't
Yeah.
exist. The future's not here yet. It's just this. It's just we programmed to think differently. And that's right now what's falling away is the motion of time, because the third dimension is gone. Mother Earth doesn't want that anymore. She wants her children happy, right? She's tired of all the fighting. And I myself have 2 beautiful adult children, of course, but they're always kids. And it's kind of like, I hate to see my kids fight. I'll always hate, one, they're always going to be my kids. And 2, I hate to see them fight. I want them to be happy. I will do anything for my babies to be happy. Well, that's Mother Earth. and she's done. It's just for us, it seems like we've been in time for so long, but really, she was just maybe taking a little nap while all this happened. You know, while Father Earth, was at work. Meanwhile, we've been through thousands of years of because no one's watching the kids, and then we found the matches, and then we set off the bombs, and mother said, "Hey, yo, everybody, the neighbor just called and said the kids have found the matches. Somebody get down there and fix it." And that's where the starseeds, the volunteer. I'm a volunteer. We came in to say, "Oh my gosh, kids shouldn't be playing with matches. It's dangerous. Check on them, mom." And that's
So
basically how volunteers, and you'll hear
yeah,
many
yeah.
that will tell you they're volunteers. It's a
So
great honor
so
to be chosen.
yes, I believe that. I believe we earned it too. I believe we all chose to come, and those that
Yes,
came were chosen because I think there was more wanted to come than have been here.
yes,
But so like,
right. So everybody outside that prays for us, all the on the other side of the veil, those are all the ones that are waiting to come into the game. But mother's not. They're not in alignment. They are at a fourth
mm,
frequency, not at a physical third frequency Earth. Because just because the third dimensional doesn't mean that it cannot be at the frequency of peace. Because
right.
it's multidimensional. The
But
Earth
that's
is
what
not
we're
going to
doing.
change, and it's just the frequency of peace is.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh no, that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
So,
gone. Sorry.
wow.
It's funny
Uh,
you're at the out.
yeah, but I really get that part you were talking
Channeling.
about
You know
too.
how that goes.
Yeah. Yes. But I really get that part too because I always wondered, okay, we're like some souls born here on the earth, and and I guess even right up to today, I just always felt like, okay, I know I'm a star seed, and I look if I use Morgan as an example, I know that's a star seed, right? But I also know there's a part of me that just
Right.
knows I've been with the earth since the beginning. You know what I mean? Like your explanation of what you call.
Okay. And so you remember,
Go ahead.
yeah, because there were okay. So I always understood, that the first stage man, the first ones that inhabited or attempted to inhabit the earth, the first souls, the Polarians, which interestingly enough, the poles, right? The Polarians, they were unable to ever come out of spirit. But I always understood that the Polarians, the souls that wanted make this earth, because we've been the Polarians, the Hyperboreans, the Lemurians, the Atlantean, the Aryans, and now we're going into the new, the new, the new evolved human, right? When the Polarians first landed, literally, I've always understood that they were encased in a blue ray, which is the Archangel
Mm,
Michael, as people understand it. Of course, I don't believe that there's a little guy swinging a sword, but hey, yo, whatever, right? It's just my belief. It's a consciousness to me. When
it's a
I first had my
consciousness.
spontaneous awakening, the first instant thing, yeah, the first thing I felt was that I was surrounded in blue. I didn't know what it
Hmm.
was. I just knew that I was surrounded in blue. When the when the Polarians first came down, and they were like a fiber optic cable, and all the souls were inside, but the casing of the cable was the Blu-ray of protection.
Hmm.
And so it brought, because they had to descend, right? Because they had no color. So color is a frequency. That's why, even though we're called Earth, we all know that it's a water planet.
Hmm.
Because everything in the third dimension is inside out, backwards, and upside down, everything we've been taught. So, they say the Earth is Earth, but really it's a water planet. If you look at, percentages, there's more water than Earth.
Yeah.
So on the surface, so that we came down, when you tap into that, you have the memory of being one of the original souls that have worked through all the different evolutionary stages to now, right? Until,
Yeah.
because some souls, you're one of the original creators of this beautiful creation.
Hmm.
and it's like, it's kind of like, when you were a little kid and you got done at school, and then after school you met like with neighbor kids, and maybe they didn't go to the same school as yours, but you had a special game you played with them, and you couldn't wait to get home to play that game with them. It's
Right.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
You had a group and wanted to come play, and the game figure out how to get down from spirit into physicality. It's a
Right.
big gap, right?
Yeah.
Ask the ghosts. They would love it. So that's why you have memories, because you're one of the original ones that said, you know what, I'm going down there, and don't forget me, guys, and keep an eye on me.
Yeah. No
And
kidding.
here you are.
All of us.
And I'll be back out. I'm going. Right. Yeah. Angels. And Lisa Renee, it's interesting because this always resonates with me. So you have the central sun, which is where all the Akashic records are held for the Milky Way, because this is Mother Earth. This is where you come to learn the experience of a mother, a father, a child, right? That Trinity. It's a Milky Way, Mother Earth. All those souls that don't have that experience come here to experience that. So as we come in, we all want to experience it differently, but we're all playing different roles, right? Okay, I want to be a mom. Okay, next time I want to be a dad. Okay, next time I want to be a bad kid. Well, no, I want to be a good kid. And we just kind of swap it out, and right now everybody is realigning, and exactly, we all want new roles. There's 3 different chakra systems now on Earth. There's the original chakra system, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, right? Well, that's the pyramid. That's the Earth system. When you come out your crown, what do you go to? You go to the triangular grids, not the reincarnation circular grids of Earth. That's why Earth is round, right? But you go to the space grids, which are triangular, because in space to travel great distances through space. So the space grids are triangular. Planetary grids are always binary, 0 and 1, because that makes a circle. And also because that's what creates time, right? So you could say gravity is really, if there were to be a god of this earth from a scientific standpoint, gravity is the god, because otherwise we're eternal on a forever line. But the gravity makes us turn, and that turn is what pulls the line, turns the line, right? And makes us go around the sun and gives us time. Otherwise, which is eternal forever. At least, again, that's how I understand it. I hope I'm explaining myself.
No, I think your explanations have been great. So, so in terms of like, if you had to give, you had somebody walk in to your house today and said, "I need a session. I've been awake. Things are what we've been talking about today. Things are lots of energy out there." What would you say to them in terms of how to move forward from this point?
Well, I would remind everybody that in the 5th dimension, in the dimension of peace, right, as we expand into it, there's 5 aspects of us. There is a mental body, there is a physical body, there's an emotional body, there is a spiritual body, and an energetic body. We've known about the first 4, but we have been taught nothing about energy, right? That's a 5th dimensional concept. You only understand energy and how to manifest and how to do it, right, when you get to the 5th dimension. So I would say, for your physical body, try to drink as pure water as possible. So, my favorite water, I drink distilled water now. Okay. And then I take vitamins and minerals and all that. My favorite water was core water, which is 7.4 pH. So you are what you drink. So I would say get water into your physical body is the best, easiest thing you can do, right? Invest in water. For your emotional body, I would say go do a Netflix binge. If anything makes you cry, that's a trigger. That means that there's a soul fragment of yourself in what you're seeing in that reality, because what we see on TV are other realms. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing them, right? Because somebody made them, somebody created them. That's why we're visualizing them. If you see something that is making you cry, watch it over and over and over again until you are a hot mess. And eventually you can watch it and feel nothing. And that's, you have healed your emotional body. If you are mental, and I'm a Gemini, I'm a double Gemini, I'm a Gemini. So my adoption, and I'm a June 3rd birth and a June 10th adoption. So starseeds, that's why starseeds the way are often adopted, because we collapse 4 timelines, 4 that's how we're let in. We come in to help the DNA that has been broken down from earth angels that can no longer create children, so they can no longer have legacies for the experience to continue, because your ancestors, once they die, become your legacies, but you got to keep it moving, right? So for mentals, I would say tapping. The minute that you catch yourself thinking a, excuse my French, stupid ass thought, stop everything and say no, 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 and tap. Because what you're doing is you're rewiring the synapses to teach yourself to think differently. And when you do that, you raise your frequency. So for me, for example, right, I went through a horrific phase where I thought I was a piece of shit mother. Okay, it was horrible. All I could remember is all the things I'd done wrong. I couldn't remember anything right. I couldn't remember any of the happy. I was in so much emotional pain that I was wearing, blinders. I couldn't remember the good I'd done. Caught myself, and I thought, oh wait, no, I'm a good mother. I'm a good mother. I'm a good mother. And I would do it like 100 times a day. Because it takes 3 weeks, 21 days to break a habit. It's a human thing. So if you do it, eventually, by the end of those 3 weeks, that thought process was no longer in me. It had been released. Okay? That spiritual wise, I pray. The most important thing spiritually for me is when you first wake up, the minute you open your eyes, one, attitude. You're alive. You get another day. You get another shot at fixing whatever you've messed up. Clean up your act. Clean up your mess, right? You're doing something right. Otherwise, the Creator would have taken you out while you were sleeping. So gratitude. And then set your sacred intent. And, I don't know if you've heard, but I have a prayer that I say, I set my sacred intent to walk every moment of every second of every breath that I take for the greatest good of all, in love and in light, in peace and in bliss. And so it is, and so it is. I do that every morning, and that anchors you to the correct grids, to the matrix, to the ascension matrix, because you've set your sacred intent to harm none and do good. Do the best you can. You're still human. You're gonna fuck up. Woo! But you're trying. And you know what? The universe loves that. The universe just the more you try, the more it gives it to you, right? So the most important thing for your spiritual body is to set your sacred intent. Also, I pray the Our Father. I sing it. Why? It's just my choice. It what feels good to me.
Sing
Pray
it to
to
us.
something, a higher. Oh gosh, I got kicked out of Catholic choir as a kid because they kicked me out of choir. St. Vincent
I got kicked out in ninth grade.
because they said I can't sing. Now you want me to? Okay, I'm singing it. Ready? I'm doing it. You ready? Okay.
Yes.
Hold on, I need courage. Okay, this is what I sing about 10 a day. I can't believe you're making me do this now.
I'm not making you. It's up to you.
Okay. I know. I want to though. I'm good with it.
I think
just want to help people.
Yeah.
It's all. Okay. Okay, so I've changed it a little bit for me. Okay, so people can remember the matrix in the fifth dimension. You tell the matrix what to do. So I tell the matrix how I feel. Okay, so like this: My Father who is in heaven, say thy name. Thy kingdom's here, thy will is done on earth and in all the heavens. Bless me this day my daily bread, and forgive me my trespasses, as I forgive those who trespass against me. And lead me not into temptation, and deliver me from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Your daughter.
That's cool. Very cool.
Um, so,
Beautiful.
and then also for me, Ephesians 6:10, the armor of God. Read it. It's there's a reason why the Bible continues, right? Ephesians 6:10, the armor of God, tells you how to protect yourself against spiritual war. Read it, draw it, sit with it, understand it, because it shows you how to protect every aspect of yourself against everything that's out there, known and unknown. So that's spiritual. And then for energy, I do a 12-dimensional shielding, right? When I first had my awakening, I would shield 100 times a day. Now it's a little different. It's 10 years later. But I imagine a tube of light coming from Father Cosmos and going to the heart, the crystal heart of the earth, and me, the child, in between. Okay? So I say, I surround myself in the light and love of my source. I cut all cords to and from me. Namaste. I heal, fill myself with light, open up my heart, surround myself in a golden shield of unconditional love, fully step into my armor of God, and step into my divine purpose. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. So now from an energy standpoint, which is different than a spiritual standpoint, I am also shielded. So those are 5 tools for 5 different aspects that work the best for me. If I were to, of course, we have sound, and you saw me do my crystal bowl, and I have a lot of, I burn incense and palo santo at the same time, because I was born in Argentina, so I carry the matriarchal grids, but then I was brought to the United States when I was 10, so I carry the patriarchal grids. So, sage is North American, Palo Santo is South American. I don't take any chances. I use it all.
No.
Just in case, and clear my space that way. I put crystals in the 4 corners of my property, so that I can build an energetic fortress around my home, right? My world, right? Because there's so many things. There's so many masters out there with incredible, very, very, very beautiful tools. I am a little different, simply because my job is a little different, and because those masters have done the work. So I'm going to do something different, because we don't duplicate experiences. And so that's in a way how what I call my guilty pleasure, or my guilty addiction, or my dirty little secret, is that I have over 100 tarot decks, divinity decks, and oracle decks. Because to me, those are all dimension realms, because everyone is by a different artist. And so I read cards, and it's something I love to do. It's how I play. I love to play cards. I grew up playing canasta. So I love to play cards. And
that's what all my grandmother and her friends played. Canasta.
Yeah, when I first came to the United States, I didn't speak English. And so my mom and my aunt, right, and their best friend, Ninfa, who was, if anybody's from Houston, they remember Ninfa restaurants. They
Absolutely.
used to play canasta. And when I came here, I didn't speak English. So I was their fourth. And every afternoon at 4 o'clock, and I mean every afternoon, in Houston, Texas, at 4 o'clock, they would, Ninfa would come, and we would, or Betty would.
Wait, are you talking about? Are you talking about the actual nympha?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you? Because I lived in Houston for 20 plus years. I lived right around the.
So
I lived right around. Okay, go ahead.
You. Where
I
were
was
you?
in West Houston, off Derry Ashford and I-10, the Memorial area.
Okay, so I went to St. Agnes. Well, I went to St. Vincent de Paul. Was over by Holcomb Boulevard,
Yeah,
by Baylor Medical Center, and
yeah.
then I went. That was my elementary school. That's where the nuns kicked me out of the choir because I couldn't sing. And then I went to St. Agnes Academy for 2 years, and I graduated from high school in 3 years. I went to Marian Christian High School
Okay.
off of Bel Air. So that's
Yeah.
where I grew up in Houston. Yeah.
Wow.
And so
It's
my
crazy.
mom and my aunt was very involved in she had been married to the vice president of Gulf Oil. Remember Gulf Oil?
Yes.
Very affluent family used to
Yeah.
be. And so they were a philanthropist. So that's why my mom, my aunt, and Nifa, they were very good friends because so involved in philanthropy for the Houston area.
Far out.
It's
Far out.
I know,
Great
right? How cool is
Great Mexican
that?
food too. And the ninfaritas.
Oh
The
my God,
ninfaritas
right?
back in the day.
Oh my gosh,
So
yes.
I
Oh,
just
her tamales, they were
oh
delicious.
yeah, all the food. So
Yeah.
I just want to say it's been a very excellent way to end the day with our broadcasting for the show, and it's really been a pleasure meeting you, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for
Pleasure
our
meeting you, and thank you for this chance.
yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, we'd love to do it again in 2021 with you and just talk some more. It's been a
Oh, I love it.
yeah. So
Yeah, I wanted to let you know I am launching on May 1st a brand new platform. It's
okay,
going to be Ascension Answers. And it's going to be on YouTube, and it's going to be Ascension Answers at WordPress.com. It's going to be the website. And if you have any Ascension Answers, I will be making one video a day and putting it on Ascension Answers on YouTube. But people have to, because I don't have time, you know. So, but it's how I really, and as you and I both know, we cannot earn an income unless we're doing our spiritual work. But I have chosen to continue my ministry and donations only. And yes, I do have to pay bills. And yes, I have no money. I mean, I might as well admit it. Woo! It's not
welcome to the club.
the nympho money. The nympho money is gone. Okay, so leave me alone, people. But and I'm just going. That is going to be how I give back, and I'm very excited about
Right,
that. And then I am
right.
launching a second channel called the Oracle Starseed, where I'm going to be doing my cards, my tarot readings, my divinity readings, and people
Cool.
can I'm going to be doing it every day and using I think I have 100. I might have 111 decks. I'll
Wow.
have to let you know next time with me. I know, right? It's so much fun.
Well,
And
I have
I'm
this.
also designing my own starseed deck to help people
Cool.
with their ascension. So
Far
galactic
out.
ascension. Yeah, I'm very
Far
excited.
out.
Hoping that'll
Yeah.
be up by June. But
Let's do it again sometime. Let's
yes,
do it again
thank you so much,
sometime.
Todd. Yes,
I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. All blessings to
I
you and yours
appreciate
and
you.
all your
Love you.
endeavors. Thank you, everybody, for your continued
Thank you.
love, support, and contributions that keep us going every day. Peace out.